Hi, welcome to my channel, Make It in Solidworks, except this time it's Make It in Rhino. So I'm doing this as a demonstration of what Rhino can do, especially for my students who've been trained in Solidworks. And I want to show what the advantages of using Rhino, because everything we can do in Rhino, we can do in Solidworks, except the way we go about doing it is considerably different. And it is much more immediate. So let me just show you what I mean by that. I'm going to select this point, which I've placed at the 000 position. You'll see this gumball appears. The gumball is not automatically visible, although it should be. So you can switch it off if you want. And the gumball allows you to do certain things like move an object around and also to extrude it. So I'm going to extrude using this little round button, this extrude button, and hold the shift button down. And by extruding, I get a line. Okay, so just from a point, I'm going to get a line. And from a line, I'm going to extrude again to get a surface. Although technically, this is not a surface in SolidWorks. It's an extruded, it's an extrusion, an open extrusion. So you'll see in the command line or the status bar here, it says one open extrusion added to selection. Just to explain the difference between an extrusion and a surface, although it's not that important for the video, an extrusion just has 2 points. If I select one of those points and I drag up, the entire surface acts as a flat surface, and I just raise the height of the one end. So to make that into a proper surface, I explode it. And you'll see if I select it now in the status bar, I get one open surface added to selection. And let's have a look at what that does. If I select this button here, show object, so show the control points. These are the control points. I now have 4 of them. And if I drag one of them up, the others stay behind and I get a curved surface. Okay, so let's make this more interesting. Let's give it more points. So I'm rebuilding the surface. Don't worry about how all of this works. I will tell you about it. It's not that complicated. So I'm just adding a certain number of points, and you can see the points appear there. And I want to now select a certain group of these points. And so I'm going to go into the top view. In these 4 views that are standard in Rhino, if you just click on the little top left corner, you'll get the view appearing. Okay, so I'm going to drag select these points, go back to my perspective view, drag these down a little bit, and then while these 2 are selected, I've added the select points by brushing because I find this very useful. And I'm going to hold the control button down just to deselect these ones. Oops. All right, let's do it the other way. Let's just deselect everything and select like that. Okay, and then there we go. So now I've got a curved surface very quickly just by using the control points. I'm going to use the control points now to make something approximating, oops, let's do that again, a seat. Okay, so I'm using these rotate bars just to rotate the view, the points. I can drag them. I can rescale them using these little square buttons at the end. That's a rescaling button. Can deselect some by holding the control button down. Drag these ones up. All right, so let's not get too much into the weeds with this. I'm going to make a basic shape, and if it doesn't really add up to anyone's visual expectations, I'm not going to be too bothered. Okay, so let's just make this back piece a little bit more exaggerated by using these scale buttons. So you can see that if we go into the right view, the base is a little bit more rounded than the rest is. Okay, so few other things I want to do. I want to widen the sort of center bit of it. So Grab those ones, not that one there. All right, something like that. I'm not going to make it too wide. And what I can do as well, if I'm not happy with the proportions, I can just scale the whole thing just to make it a bit more upright. There we go. Okay, now one or two other interesting things. I'm going to make a copy of this by holding the Alt button down and then dragging on this move button, and there I get a new surface, which is exactly the same copy as the old one. And I'm going to switch the control points on again, go to the front view, just drag these down a little bit so that they're at the same level. There we go. Right, and then the same at the bottom. Drag those down. All right, so they kind of line up. And then what else I want to do is I want to switch both items. I want to switch the control points on. I'm going to lock the point and the curve so that they don't interfere. And then I'm going to select these, and just dragging that scale button, I get them to line up with one another, squared off. You can do the same at the top. So drag, and then I'm going to just squeeze them in a little bit. So you can see how very, very powerful it is, how very immediate it is to work in this program. So that's the beauty of it for me, is that whatever you do, it happens straight away. There's no going into sketch environments to draw a sketch. You draw a sketch and then you extrude it. From here, I'm going to do one or two other things. One of them is I'm going to create a curve between here and here called an adjustable curve blend. And then I'm going to use a 3D surface command called sweep two rails. Here's one rail, there's another one, and there's my sweep shape. And you can see it's giving me something like this. All right, I'm not happy with that because of the way it ends at the top here. So I'm just going to put in another one of those at the top. Let's go. So it's that shape. We'll leave it as it is. And then we'll do the sweep two rails again. So sweep two rails. Here's my one rail. There's the other one. Here's a shape. Here's a shape. And right click. And then I can choose whether it's tangent, position, or curvature. Let's leave it at tangency for now. It's a bit of a weird shape, but just to show you how this works is good enough. So I'm going to mirror that, and then I should be able to select these and join them, because at the moment you can see I've got one curve and four surfaces. If I join them, I should have one. There we go. I've got a complete, what's called a poly surface in Rhino. Poly surface just means it has many surfaces. They've been joined. And I can't do anything to poly surfaces using the control points. You'll see it won't switch on. I have to explode this to start working with the the actual surfaces one by one. Let's do one other thing. Let's do something like this. All right, I want to chop the top of that off. Let's just rotate this, come down a bit, extrude it, and then I'm going to use that surface to chop this one off, and this one to chop that one off, so that we've got a cap. So we'll go to trim, and trim that one, and then I'm going to join them. And so I can do the same at the bottom, but here we go. I have one surface, and if I want to, I can now select these edges, and this might not work. Let's see. Give them a chamfer or a radius. One might be. Let's just get a preview going. See what it's going to do. Yes, it'll do it. So let's just change that. Set all to say 3. Preview. Okay. So I hope that was worth watching. I hope that gets you excited. We're going to do something interesting with the Apple mouse. We're going to copy the Apple mouse, but put our own spin on it. Happy watching. I'll see you in the next video.